The fluorescent lights buzz overhead,
casting a cold glow over Roosevelt High School's English classroom. The walls were lined with colorful posters about grammar rules and famous literary quotes.
But none of that mattered to Daniel right now. He stood at the front of the class, gripping the podium with clammy hands. His chest tightened, and a familiar weight of anxiety pressed down on him. Gigi goo, good more, morning Miss Taylor, Daniel stuttered. A low snicker came from the back. A few students whispered, nudging each other. But nothing could prepare Daniel for what happened next. Miss Taylor, their English teacher, smirked. Then she did the unthinkable. She laughed. It wasn't a small chuckle, not a polite giggle, but a full, breathless, shoulders-shaking laugh. "Oh my God!" she gasped between giggles. "Did I just hit the slow motion button? Daniel, come on. We don't have all day." The class erupted. Some students clapped. Others mimicked a stammer. One boy in the back exaggeratedly dragged out his words, sending the class into another fit of laughter. Daniel's face burned. His fingers curled into fists. He wanted to disappear. Miss Taylor wiped the corners of her eyes, still grinning. "All right, Daniel, that's enough. Just sit down before you take up the entire period." Something inside Daniel cracked. This wasn't just a teacher laughing. It was betrayal. That day, Daniel made a silent vow. Never again. The school bell rang, signaling the end of the day. While other students rushed out, Daniel stayed behind, walking slower than usual. His feet carried him to a part of town he rarely visited. The streets were quieter here, lined with mom-and-pop shops and flickering streetlights. He had just passed an old bookstore when a voice called out, "You look troubled, son." Daniel turned sharply. An elderly man sat on a wooden bench outside the bookstore, wearing dark sunglasses and fedora. His beard was thick, his face wrinkled with age. He held a worn-out book in one hand, a steaming cup of tea in the other. Daniel hesitated. I'm fine." The old man chuckled. "No, you're not. I know the look of someone carrying a heavy burden." Daniel frowned. How did this man know? The old man leaned forward. "You want to be free from your stutter, don't you?" Daniel's stomach clenched. How did you? "I know many things." The man's lips curled into a knowing smile. "I also know that people who laugh at others never go unpunished." Daniel swallowed hard. The old man placed his tea down and gestured for Daniel to come closer. "There's something you can do, but be warned, it comes with a price." Daniel's pulse quickened. What kind of price? The old man's sunglasses reflected the dim streetlight, making his face unreadable. "That," he said, "you'll find out soon enough." The next morning, Daniel woke up feeling different. His body felt lighter. His thoughts become clearer. Something inside him had shifted. Then he heard it. A voice. Not from outside. Not from the room. From inside his head. "Are you ready, Daniel?" His breath hitched. He stepped back from the mirror. Who said that? Silence. Was he imagining things? He shook his head, grabbed his backpack, and headed to school. But the strange feeling didn't go away. And then something unbelievable happened. Miss Taylor stood at the front of the class, her usual smug expression in place. "All right, everyone, let's begin." She stopped. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Her eyes widened. She tried again. Nothing. The class grew restless. A few students giggled. "Miss Taylor," someone called out. Panic filled her face. She clutched her throat, shaking her head. Miss Taylor had lost her voice. And Daniel? Daniel could suddenly speak fluently.
A stunned silence filled the classroom. Miss Taylor's hands flew to her throat as she struggled to speak. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air, but no sound came out. A few students snickered at first, thinking it was some sort of joke. "Yo, is this a prank?" Jake, the class clown, asked, grinning. But the longer Miss Taylor remained mute, the more the laughter died down. Her face turned pale, her eyes wide with panic. Daniel sat frozen in his seat, his heart hammering. He wanted to feel bad for her. He really did. But all he could think about was how, just yesterday, she had laughed at him the same way. And now, she couldn't speak at all. This can't be real. Miss Taylor's breathing grew rapid. She grabbed a marker and scribbled frantically on the whiteboard. "I can't talk. Help me." The entire class erupted in confusion. Some students gasped. Others exchanged nervous glances. The classroom door swung open, and the principal, Mr. Donovan, stepped in. "What's going on here?" Miss Taylor, gestured wildly at her throat, then pointed at the board. Mr. Donovan's face darkened. All right, everyone, settle down. Miss Taylor, let's get you to the nurse. As they led her out of the classroom, Daniel sat motionless. His mind raced. Was this because of what happened yesterday? Was it because of that old man? A new thought sent chills down his spine. What if this wasn't just a coincidence? After the chaotic morning, the school day continued. But something was different. Daniel noticed the way people looked at him, the way they talked to him. For the first time, nobody laughed at him. Nobody whispered behind his back. Because when Daniel spoke, he didn't stutter. Not once. Not even a little. It was like his words flowed perfectly, effortlessly, as if the speech disorder had never existed. During lunch, he tested it again. Hey, Kevin, he said to his best friend. Pass me the salt. Kevin froze mid-bite. Dude, did you just talk normally? Daniel's stomach twisted. Yeah. Kevin frowned. What the hell, man? Since when? I don't know. Kevin leaned in. Are you messing with me? You've been stuttering since first grade. Daniel had no answer. Because he was just as shocked as Kevin. Miss Taylor lost her voice. And at the exact same time, Daniel gained his. That couldn't be a coincidence, could it? That evening, Daniel walked the same route he had taken the day before. He had to find the old man again. The bookstore was still there. The wooden bench still sat outside. But this time, it was empty that Daniel's heart sank. Had he imagined everything? Just as he turned to leave, a familiar voice spoke behind him. Looking for someone? Daniel spun around. The old man was there, standing in the bookstore doorway, a small smile on his lips. You! Daniel swallowed hard. Lee, what did you do to me? The old man chuckled. I didn't do anything, son. You made a choice. Daniel's fists clenched. What choice? I never agreed to this. The old man raised a brow. Did you not say you wanted to be free from your stutter? Daniel hesitated. Well, yes, but, and did I not warn you that there would be a price? Daniel's blood ran cold. The price. Miss Taylor had mocked him. And now she couldn't talk. Why you took her voice? Daniel whispered. The old man sighed. I didn't take anything. The universe has a way of balancing things, my boy. You were wronged. And now justice has been served. Daniel shook his head. No, this isn't right. Give her voice back. The old man's smile faded. It doesn't work that way. Daniel's heart pounded. Then how does it work? The old man stepped closer. His eyes, hidden behind the dark sunglasses, somehow seemed to pierce through Daniel's soul. You have power now, Daniel. The kind of power most people dream of. His voice lowered. But power is a dangerous thing. If misused, it can consume you. Daniel felt a shiver run down his spine. What do you mean? The old man took a slow sip of his tea before answering. You've only seen the beginning. That night, Daniel lay awake in bed, staring at the ceiling. His mind replayed the old man's words over and over, that you've only seen the beginning. What did that mean? His stomach churned with unease. He had wanted Miss Taylor to stop humiliating him. But not like this. Then, as he turned to check the time, his phone buzzed at a message. From an unknown number. Daniel frowned and opened it. The text read, You did this to her. And we know. Daniel's breath caught in his throat that he sat up, his hands shaking as another message came through. You're not the only one with secrets. A third message. This time, an address at a place he had never been before. And below the address, one final message. If you want the truth, come alone. Daniel's chest tightened. His gut told him this was a bad idea. But his curiosity was stronger than his fear. He had to find out what was happening to him. So he made a decision. Tomorrow, he would go to that address, alone. Daniel stood outside the abandoned building, staring at the peeling paint and shattered windows. The address from the mysterious text had led him here. An old warehouse on the outskirts of town. His heart pounded in his chest. Who sent the message? How did they know about Miss Taylor? And what did they mean by, you're not the only one with secrets? The street was empty. A cold wind howled through the cracks of the building, sending a shiver down his spine. Every instinct screamed at him to turn around and leave. But he didn't. Taking a deep breath, he pushed the rusted door open and stepped inside. The warehouse was dark except for a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling, the center of the room. Someone stood waiting. That Daniel's breath hitched. It was Kevin, his best friend. But Kevin's face wasn't friendly. His usual goofy grin was gone, replaced by something cold. "You actually came," Kevin said. Daniel took a cautious step forward. You sent the texts?" Kevin nodded. "I had to know if it was true." Daniel's hands curled into fists. "If what was true?" Kevin's eyes burned with intensity. "That you did something to Miss Taylor." Daniel's stomach twisted. I don't know what happened to her." Kevin took a step closer. "Don't lie to me, Daniel." His voice was sharp, cutting through the air. "I've known you my whole life. You've stuttered since we were kids. But now, all of a sudden, you talk perfectly, and the teacher who humiliated you loses her voice? That's not a coincidence." Daniel's throat went dry. Kevin knew. Daniel shook his head. I didn't mean for this to happen." Kevin's jaw clenched. "Then undo it." Daniel froze, thought he wanted to undo it. But how? The old man never said anything about reversing it. Kevin exhaled sharply, then reached into his pocket. He pulled out a crumpled piece of paper and shoved it into Daniel's hand. "Read this." Daniel unfolded it. The paper was yellowed with age, the words handwritten in elegant cursive. "The covenant of exchange." His pulse quickened. The words described exactly what had happened to him. A transfer of ability from one person to another, a balance of power. But then his eyes landed on the last line. To restore what was taken, the giver must make a choice. Keep what is stolen or return it at a cost. Daniel's blood ran cold. A cost. His hands trembled. "Where did you get this?" Kevin's expression darkened. "The old bookstore. The same one you went to." Daniel's chest tightened. That meant Kevin had spoken to the old man too. "Did he tell you anything else?" Daniel asked. Kevin hesitated. Then, in a low voice, he said, "The cost isn't what you think, Daniel." Daniel's mind raced. He had to undo what happened. He couldn't let Miss Taylor suffer because of him. But what was the cost? Before he could ask, the warehouse door creaked open. Both boys turned out a shadow, stepped inside. Daniel's breath caught. It was the old man. He walked in slowly, the tap of his cane echoing through the warehouse. His sunglasses still covered his eyes, but his presence sent a chill through Daniel's bones. "You've come to a crossroads," the old man said. Daniel swallowed hard. "I want to give Miss Taylor her voice back." The old man nodded, as if he expected that answer. "Are you sure?" Daniel hesitated. "What's the cost?" The old man tilted his head. "Your voice." Daniel's stomach dropped. My voice?" The old man nodded. "To restore the balance, you must return to who you were." The words hit Daniel like a punch. If he gave up his voice, the fluency he had just gained would be gone. He'd go back to stammering, back to struggling with every word. Was he ready for that? He clenched his fist. That wasn't the right thing to do. He took a deep breath. His voice might have been taken away before, but it never stopped him from being who he was. Daniel straightened his shoulders. "I accept." The old man smiled, a small, knowing smile. "Very well." He reached into his coat and pulled out a small glass vial. Inside, something shimmered like golden light. A voice. The old man held it up. "Once I break this, the exchange will be undone." Daniel nodded. "Do it." Kevin watched in silent awe as the old man crushed the vial in his hand. A rush of energy swept through the warehouse. Daniel gasped as something shifted inside him. The power was gone. A moment later, his body sagged, his breath unsteady. He looked at Kevin, eyes wide. "T-test to me," he stammered. Kevin's face broke into a grin. "You're back, man." Daniel let out a shaky breath. It felt strange, like losing a part of himself. But deep down, he knew he had done the right thing. The next day at school, Daniel walked into the classroom with his heart pounding. Would Miss Taylor be okay? When he stepped inside, his eyes immediately locked on her. She stood at the front of the class, clearing her throat. And then she spoke. Her voice was back. Daniel sighed in relief. Miss Taylor seemed different, though. Her usual smug expression was gone. She looked shaken. She met Daniel's gaze. And for a moment, something unreadable flashed in her eyes. Then she did something unexpected. She nodded at him, but a silent thank you. Daniel sat down, feeling a weight lift off his chest. He had lost his fluency. But he had gained something stronger. The knowledge that his worth wasn't in how perfectly he spoke, but in who he was. That day, for the first time, Daniel walked with his head held high. not because he was different, but because he had finally accepted himself. Some gift come with a price. Some power isn't meant to be taken, but true strength, it doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being yourself. If you were in Daniel's shoes, would you have made the same choice? Would you give up a gift you always wanted if it meant doing the right thing? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this story inspired you, don't forget to like this video to support more powerful stories. Comment your favorite part of the story. Share this with a friend who needs a reminder that their voice matters, stutter or not. Your engagement helps us create more life-changing stories.